from Priyanka Chopra, your first high profile client, you went on to Deepika Padukone's wedding, I guess.
And it was challenging because it was the most I had ever written in that duration. I was writing about 7-8 hours a day. And then she said, "Which department are you, like hair and makeup or decor?" I said, "No, I'm the calligrapher." She's like, "Excuse me?" I loved that moment because you know how we spoke about category creation and spoke about how this was never really a thing in India. But how much will you charge me? And I went quiet and I said, "No, I won't charge you. Don't worry. I'll do it just like that." Quote a client, finish the job, and realize I actually went in a loss. And not even understand how I managed to do that. There were times I would overpromise and maybe underdeliver.
Dealing with an industrialist or dealing with the people in the business side, different from dealing with freelancers or dealing with private weddings or dealing with celebrities.
High profile celebrity wedding, we cannot disclose any names, but there's a requirement for a calligrapher. It's quite last minute, it's a lot of work. And they said the wedding's going to be in Jodhpur, it's at the Umaid Bhawan Palace. And everyone knew, and people were talking about Priyanka Chopra's wedding happening. So I said, could it be?
Hello everyone. Welcome again to Life Unscripted. Today I'm honored to present and host Sanjana, the founder for Bombay Lettering Company. Sanjana is a person I would say who's completely obsessed with the kind of work she does. Somebody who has honed her skills over time, somebody who practices each day, every day to make sure that every stroke that she does from her pen in her calligraphy is pitch perfect. Sanjana is a person who has worked with Louis Vuitton towards their spirits and wine business. And then she started a calligraphy company in India with no space. So she is basically a category creator. She came in and she survived. She came in and she conquered. She has clients all over the place. She has businessmen, she has celebrities, she has normal people, everybody. She even teaches people calligraphy and makes sure that the skills are developed for the masses. So, welcome, Sanjana. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and I'm really excited to be here.
So, Sanjana, your part to creativity and your part to skill development has been a game changer. And as we recall, you worked in LVMH, the wine and spirits division. So, what was that one thing that motivated you to come out of that sector and start something into a completely new market where basically there was no category, there was no market for it?
Yeah. You know, it's really funny, Shad, because I really always saw myself working for a big company. The idea of climbing up that corporate ladder, going abroad to do my MBA, I had it all sort of set out in my mind as to what I wanted to do. I was loving my job also, and it was a beautiful company to work for. Of course, LVMH is amazing. But I think when calligraphy happened for me and to me, it came just by chance, by luck, and by surprise. It's not like I was looking for something or looking for a change. I just happened to find an artist doing calligraphy. In fact, someone used to come into our office. And I'd always been artistic, I'd always been a little creative. I loved art in school, but I never thought I could build something out of it. And it was a very organic sort of process of just doing what my heart felt like. I thought I found a creative outlet, and that's all it would ever be, just a passion project. But I think one thing just led to another, and I didn't question it. I went with the flow. I allowed things to sort of unravel the way they did. And the moment where I had to take that decision of switching ended up becoming a very natural and obvious one because of everything leading up to it. So in the beginning, I thought calligraphy would be a passion project, a creative outlet, and maybe a side hustle, which I loved. The more and more I got into it, and the more demand I started receiving from my own clients and people around me, led me to start thinking about what if. What if I did this full time? What if I could build a business out of this? Oh my God, I love it so much. I'm only giving it 4 hours a day. What if I gave it 12 hours a day? I think those are the questions that started coming in, which obviously initially led me to switching.
So did you also create all those, fancy business plans and marketing
Nothing.
plans,
Nothing.
and did the whole brainstorming with like group of people?
Not so much. I think I never, maybe I should have, but at the point, I was just going with my gut and I was going with what felt right. I had a lot of clients by the end of my first year of doing it as a side business. And I think after 3 months of earning more from my side business than my corporate job was when I started to think about it seriously as a full time gig. Because I think for the longest time, I didn't have that faith that I could build something bigger with it. I always thought that it would remain a side business because how much can you do? How much can you scale up with an art form like calligraphy? It's a bit, I thought it was a bit restricting. I thought I had a glass ceiling above my head. And I didn't think I'd be able to really scale it in a way I would have liked to if I had to ever build my own business. So for the first bit, I never even imagined. I think that's why.
So, like, if I have got this right, like you first, while working, you learn the skill and the art form.
Yes.
Then you spent more. So I think that was the maximum time spent to
Yeah.
hone the art.
Yeah.
And then you actually started the business as a side hustle.
Yeah.
And so, what kind of toll it took on you? Because I think like I juggle between multiple businesses,
Yeah.
and it's a mayhem.
Yeah.
And especially when you have to report to people, I can understand that how difficult it would be.
Yeah.
So can you take us through your journey at that point of time when you were juggling between one thing in the morning and the second
Yeah.
thing by the evening or the weekends?
Yeah.
And how you used to manage yourself, your time, your clients, and your professional job.
So in the beginning, I thought I was superwoman. So I thought I could do both. And I loved the idea. And I said, wow, I have this 9 to 5 day job and I have this weekend creative business. Like it sounds amazing. And it's a good balance as well. Coming home and it was almost like unwinding and de stressing because calligraphy is such a therapeutic art form. It's actually so calming, it's so meditative that it would actually calm me down. So after a crazy day of work, I would look forward to coming and working on client work or even just my own practice. So I will say for that 1 year, I really put my social life on a back seat. I was very social, I still am, but for that 1 year, I was working 16 hours a day, both jobs. I was working weekends, I was working nights, but I was doing it with so much excitement and passion that Bombay Lettering never felt like work. It always felt like play. And touch wood, till today, it feels like play. So I will say that, sometimes people say, oh, this is too much, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't believe in that because I really feel like if you truly want something, you'll find a way to make it work. And you'll put in those hours. You don't need others around you to push you or motivate you. It has to be a very self sort of a thing. I think that's what happened with me, where I was just excited. And for 1 year, I did both. I was very lucky that my boss and team at Moy Tennessee were actually very supportive of my calligraphy business. Maybe because it
So
was
they
not.
knew.
They knew. Because I started doing calligraphy for Moy Tennessee also. So I started doing all the little projects and it worked out well because they didn't need to hire another artist. But of course, I was very respectful and mindful of the fact that it was not coming in the way. And at that time, my priority was my full time job because I was an employee there, I was working for them. And I tried to make sure I never overstepped or clashed or anything like that. Um, my team, like I said, they were super supportive. They were lovely. They would encourage me to take on projects. I was careful about not taking on more than I could chew. And I think for the first 7, 8 months, it was quite nice. It was only towards the end when I began to see the workload coming in more and more for Bombay Lettering, where I had to start saying no to people because I physically did not have the bandwidth to take on more projects. That's when I sat down with my boss and had a conversation with her, and I said, I don't know what to do because I love both, and I'm at this crossroad, and I didn't know which way to go. And we had a long chat. I had a long chat with my family, And everyone said, now you've probably reached a point where it's time to pick one and just go all out with that one. It could be either. There's no right or wrong, again, because there are pros and cons of running your own business and working for
Yeah, yeah,
someone.
definitely.
None of them are superior or better. It's really what you make of it. And I think after a lot of thinking, I decided to take that leap, because I just told myself, I didn't stress about it too much then. I kept it light and I said, what's the worst case scenario? My business may not take off. I can always come back into the corporate world. But I was 24 at the time, or 25, and I said, if not now, then when? I'd rather take this risk now than do it a lot later. And that's when I just went with it. I said, okay, let's not take it too seriously. Just go with it. Give myself 6 to 8 months. Let's see how it goes. And then I'll take it from there.
So when you started, you didn't really have a lot of business experience, like
No.
running a business. As you said, you didn't create a business model, and you didn't go through the whole MBA style of work process of how to
Yeah.
start a company, and you just went in it.
Yeah.
So what were the first few hurdles? Like when you go into business, there might be some challenges which came your way for
Yeah.
the first time, even after 6 months. So when you do
Yeah.
full time and when you try
Yeah.
to scale, what were those challenges and how did you overcome them, or how did you hone those business skills apart from your creative side?
So I guess the one thing that actually really helped me was the work ethic, discipline, and structure that I learned while working at Moe Tennessee. Because if I had just started a business fresh out of college, I would not have been in the position I was 3 years after working for someone. I feel like just learning how to be professional, learning how to write an email professionally, learning how to interact with people. And this was a French company, so there were a lot of global heads. Our MD was a French man. So I learned a lot of, I would say, professionalism over there, which is one thing people don't expect or see artists to have for some reason, because a lot of people think artists just cannot be businessmen or businesswomen as well. And I feel like initially that really helped me, because I was becoming an artist from a little bit of a business background, whatever little bit I had. So I feel that actually helped me. But obviously, having said that, I didn't know how to run a business. I learned how to build a brand, because when I was at Moe Tennessee, we were building a sparkling wine called Chandon, which was the baby of the company. And I was actually learning how to build that brand in India. And I feel those skills actually really helped me build my own company. So, more than failures or challenges or learnings, I feel there were a few good things that happened after leaving my job that helped me build my business. But of course, smaller things of how to run your own thing were things you just learned on the job. There were times I would quote a client, finish the job, and realize I actually went in a loss,
Hmm.
and not even understand how I managed to do that. There were times I would overpromise and maybe underdeliver. There were times I would promise a specific timeline, then realize that, oh my God, I need so much more time, and then pull in all nighters after all nighters. But I think these are the few learnings that only you have to go through them. You have to make those mistakes for yourself, fall down, get back up, and then be like, okay, fine, next time I'm going to try and do this much more differently. And I think those learnings, what you get on the job, are priceless, because nobody's going to teach you some things. And I'm grateful for those, because they've really helped me build my business into like what we are becoming today. But yeah, small silly things, sometimes the silliest.
So tell me, how did you get that first client? So as you have said that you have overpromised, underdelivered, or got on a loss and
Yeah.
everything. I want to know about the first client. So like, how did you know that somebody would buy this
Yeah.
and this can be turned full time? Because I think the first client is the most important, crucial one, and the
Yeah.
one who gives you the maximum confidence.
Yeah.
So when I think this was when you were working for LVMH and
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
started as,
Yeah.
as a side hustle. So please tell us, like, how did you stumble onto that first client?
So, what I started doing was I made an Instagram account just to sort of post pictures and to document my work and share it with my friends and family. Calligraphy was not something as common, wherein if you tell someone I'm a calligrapher, they would
Hmm.
understand exactly what you do.
Yeah.
So I realized I had to visually show people what I did, and more than that, I had to show them how they could avail my services. I could write your name beautifully and post a picture of it. You'll admire it, you'll appreciate it, but you'll not know what to do with it in terms of giving me business. But if I wrote your family name out, designed it in a way, and created a product like a nameplate for outside your home and showed it to you, you could then immediately be like, oh wow, I can place an order from you for this product. So it was also showing people how they could actually avail my services as a calligrapher. So I would tell people on my Instagram, I'd say, if you're having a party at home, I can write out the names of all the people or the names of the dishes of your food. If you're doing some gifting, we could beautifully write their names out as gift tags. So really like spoon feed people and explain to them in a very simple way how they could use calligraphy. So I started posting pictures on Instagram, and a lot of people were very fascinated. I got a very nice response from people, and everyone was very intrigued. And it was Diwali 2017. It was only about a few months since I started doing calligraphy. A friend of mine reached out to me saying he was sending out gifts for Diwali, and he saw my calligraphy and he loved it, and he wanted to add personalized cards with each gift. And I said, sure, I'll do it for you. He said, but how much will you charge me? And I went quiet and I said, no, I won't charge you. Don't worry. I'll do it just like that. And because I had never charged anyone, I didn't even know how to price my work. He said, no, I'll only do this if you charge me. Otherwise, I'm not doing it. I wrote to a few of the calligraphers abroad who I had interacted with, and I said, how do you charge? So they said, we go by the word. You'll have to see how much it is in India, because obviously we charge in dollars. And I said, okay.
Easy है यार, Google पे जाके बस convert करना है.
I know, I'm like 400 rupees a word. People have been like, are you crazy? So I just, I said, you know what? Okay, let's see. I did speak to the 2-3 calligraphers I knew in India. I said, how do you price? How do you charge? I think I was lucky enough that they were quite open and helpful. Some were not at all. Learnings for me, I've been as open, as helpful, and transparent as I can with people new in the industry who come to me for advice, because I don't feel like you need to hide or hold back anything. And that's how I try to be with people, because I hoped that people would be that way with me as well. So I figured it out. I was like, okay, I'll price something. It was obviously like really, really less.
First client, I think 101 rupee ka chadhawa is also like...
You know what was beautiful? I got my first paycheck on Diwali day.
Great.
Because it was a
The same
Diwali
thing happened
order.
with me for my startup.
No way.
So I got it on, I think, Dhanteras wala day.
Amazing.
I was like, yaar, aane wala din aaj hai.
Yes, exactly. And so it was quite auspicious. It was quite beautiful. I did 40 handwritten cards. I realized, one, how different it is and the pressure you add on to yourself when you're doing it for someone who's paying you versus just doing it for fun. How much more careful you have to be, how crazy I was about making it perfect and look amazing.
How long did it take you to write one card?
At that time, it took me almost 45 minutes.
For one card?
Yeah.
And like 40 cards?
Yeah. I spent a few days to do it, like just non-stop. And you'll also, of course, over time, my speed has improved. Even the team, my calligraphers, I've seen their progress when they just start. Because when you do commission work, client work, it's very different from just practicing on your own.
Yeah.
But what happens with time is you get quicker, you get better, you're able to maneuver through things faster and better. It's like going to the gym, right? You work out, your stamina gets better. So even with writing, it's similar. Your stamina builds and gets better over time. So that was my first client. It went off, thankfully, really well. And it was like a snowball effect from that, I feel.
Yeah. So like whatever I have followed on your journey. So that was your first client, which was a friend.
Yeah.
Like the cushion and the support system that kicked in. And from there, you have also went up and, you have collaborated with celebrity clients. I think Priyanka Chopra was your first client and Deepika Padukone was your the latest client, I would say. So since we are talking about first, let's pick up Priyanka Chopra. Please share your experiences of working with a celebrity client. Because working for a friend, theek hai, thoda 19-20 ho jayega. But when you go to that level, I think everything needs to be pitch perfect.
Yeah. Absolutely right. I think a friend, it was a beautiful first project, but it was still someone who knew me. The real excitement was when I got my first order from someone who didn't know me at all and found me on Instagram. That was amazing. So that was a great first. And then around 2 years into doing calligraphy, I got a call from a design studio, actually, an invitation stationery design company, who reached out to me saying, we're working on a wedding. It's a high profile celebrity wedding. We cannot disclose any names, but there's a requirement for a calligrapher. It's quite last minute, it's a lot of work. Are you available? These are the dates, this. And I said, yeah, sure. Uh, I was never enamored too much by Bollywood or celebrities. I was always just, okay, it's fine. If anything, I thought it would be more stressful. So I said, yeah, okay, sure. And they said the wedding's going to be in Jodhpur. It's at the Umaid Bhavan Palace. And everyone knew, and people were talking about Priyanka Chopra's wedding happening. So I said, could it be? I said, no, never. How can it be Priyanka Chopra's? Then, of course, they had to make me sign an NDA and everything. And then they gave me the guest list because I had to start writing the names. So obviously, I then figured out that it was hers. And it was challenging because it was the most I had ever written in that duration. I was writing about 7-8 hours a day. And after 10 days of writing, I had to go to a physiotherapist because my arms and shoulders were ruined. But it is a little high stress. Everyone puts stress, and it's layers and layers and layers. So I never interacted with her, of course. I was working with the teams there. But it was amazing. And then towards the end of it, they called me saying, Sanjana, are you available on the days of the wedding? And I was like, yeah. They said, you'll need to fly there because you need to be at the venue. And I said, oh, sure, okay. And
let me go grab my bag.
yeah. And then they're like, are you available? I was like, let me check my calendar. In my mind, I was like, obviously I'm available. And I went there. I was in Jodhpur because they needed me on site because it was a white wedding also. And in Western weddings, they have sit down dinners and meals. So you have the place cards of everybody on the table, but you also have seating charts that are made. And at such high profile weddings, if even one person cancels at the last minute, you have to rechange
Yeah.
the seating. And so they were like, we need you there because if there are additions, subtractions, you need to write. And I had to do the seating charts that were huge, so it had to be done on site. So I went there, and I remember this very distinctly because I was entering. They had to tape up my phone because no photographs.
Yeah.
Because People magazine had the exclusive rights of doing the first feature of the wedding. And I had to make my lanyard, like that card. And the lady making the cards, she was like, okay, so what's your name? I said, Sanjana. She said, which department? Are you like hair and makeup or decor? I said, no, I'm the calligrapher. She's like, excuse me? I said, yeah, I'm a calligrapher.
It's a new department.
She was like, I've been working events 20 years. I don't think I've ever made a lanyard saying calligrapher on site before. I said, well, I guess this is a lot of firsts. And I loved that moment because you know how we spoke about category creation and spoke about how this was never really a thing in India. That moment was really defining for me and it was really fun. So I was there on site, I was there through the wedding, I got to see Priyanka and Nick, and we didn't interact much, but it was just really nice to be there. And when the feature came out of People magazine, they spoke a lot about, funnily enough, there were pictures of my work because I did all the menus, the place cards, the seating charts, and there was a small mention of Bombay Lettering. And I think that helped my business a lot in terms of just credibility. And of course, we are in a love-struck, awe-struck Bollywood, whatever, land. So that definitely helped, like it helped boost just my business a little bit when that feature came out. But other than that, I feel what I've realized and learned is I actually treat every client the same. Every client is a celebrity for me. And I try and make sure we put in that kind of effort, care, love with any and every project that goes out.
So now from Priyanka Chopra, that was your one or your first high profile client. You went on to Deepika Padukone's wedding, I guess.
We did a little bit. So we did the calligraphy for her wedding, but it was a small bit.
Yeah.
Deepika actually reached out to me on Instagram because I had written her name so many times for so many different brands and she's received so many gifts from different people that had my work.
Okay.
She happened to just DM me on Instagram saying, hi Sanjana, this is Deepika and I wanted to get in touch with you for some work, and she gave me her number and we spoke, and just like that I went to her house. We had a couple meetings and then her team got in touch with me for 82 Degrees East. So I've been doing all their calligraphy.
Oh,
And just
great.
most recently, I was teaching her calligraphy while she was pregnant.
Oh, that's so
So
nice.
that was really nice. We
Yeah.
still have to complete it because baby Dua was born, but it was really nice. She told me, she said, when I'm, in my last trimester and I'm home, I've always wanted to learn calligraphy, so I'd love to spend some time learning it. So
It's very important to, hone your skills and learn something new at times. So I'm
yeah, and
so
I
glad to
love
hear
that
that. Yeah.
people like want to take that initiative and do something different and learn it. So it was very nice working with her. She's really lovely. When I'm sitting with her, you don't feel like you're in front of a celebrity or anything. It's just like like a normal person. And I think that's what celebrities like and appreciate, when you normalize things and not behave starstruck in front of them, and I think they appreciate that as well.
So let's talk a different set of clients. Like I
Yeah.
believe that, so what I know and how I got to
Yeah.
know you is like a lot of industrialists and a lot of businessmen, they also acquire and they also ask for your services for their
Yeah.
invites and
Yeah.
gifting and all those things. So can you talk about what kind of, what is the change or how dealing with an industrialist or dealing with the people in the business side
Yeah.
different from dealing with freelancers or dealing with private weddings or
Yeah.
dealing with celebrities?
So, I think we worked with all kinds of clients. So, we work with celebrities, we work with industrialists, we work with corporates, we work with brands, so the brand managers, we work with individuals, like just families who want stuff done for celebrations or special occasions. And while it's amazing working with the big brands, obviously, the people working there are not permanent, so they will change at
Yeah.
times. But I think what's happened really nicely for us is we've ended up working with a lot of industrialist families who, once they get comfortable working with you, they give you a lot of work, and there's a high sense of loyalty. And I think if you're, delivering excellent quality work, you're meeting their timelines, um, you're warm, you're friendly, you're approachable, uh, they will keep coming back to you. And I think that's something we were also chatting about, which is, about retention of
Yeah.
clients.
So, what is more important to you? Like, do you feel that acquiring more clients year on year is more important to you, or do you feel like retaining the ones you have, that's of the paramount importance?
I think there's no right or wrong. I guess based on every business and their model, what they want to do is different. I think in the beginning, I was going for acquisition, of course, for the first few years. I feel today I'm at a point where both are equally important, if not retention being a bit more, because I feel like we've got some amazing clients. And I want to keep, building those relations, because I keep telling the team as well, we're not here to make a quick buck. We're here for the long haul. We're here to build, I hope, a legacy, like brand, a company to go down years. And you need to look at all these things of building relations. People work with people at the end of the day. And I also tell my team, I said, that's a really important part of it, how you make people feel, and I think relationship building is a big part of that. So I feel today we're at a point where, of course, we are trying to acquire new customers, but we're equally trying to retain. And I want to, because we've been lucky enough
That's
to have
great. I
some
mean, I
amazing
am
clients.
all in for retention than
Yeah.
acquisition.
Yeah. Yeah, so again, industrialists, families, great clients, very loyal. We've had great experiences. They'll give us stuff for their home and personal, and if they're happy, they'll rope you into their businesses and companies. And when they get comfortable with you, it's really nice, because then that trust level is also there. Yeah.
So we have spoken a lot about how you have dealt with clients and what is important between acquisition, retention, and the kinds of clients that you deal with on a daily basis. So in your journey of about 8 years now, I guess from
60.
2017, yes,
Yeah.
6 to 7 years, in this journey you have reached new heights, which you yourself said that you could not foresee before. So when you are at the top, things get a bit lonely. This
Yeah.
is this is the term which I hear from a lot of people, that you're alone at the top.
Yeah.
How well do you resonate with this, or do you also feel that kind of stress that you're at the top and there's nobody to talk to?
Yeah, definitely. I feel as a solo founder, I guess it's very common to feel a bit lonely at the top. It's tough, it's challenging because you feel that nobody else can understand what you're going through. And sometimes, you don't have that co-founder or that partner or someone to share the load with, I guess, in a way. And I think what I've realized, and I guess a lot of us know this as a business owner or a founder, in a day you probably go through 100 emotions. You're having the best client feedback about something, and then suddenly you're thrown into a big disaster that needs to be looked into, and then suddenly something else is amazing. And within minutes, sometimes I'm getting something that's amazing, then I'm getting bad news, and I'm getting something amazing. So even like you don't know how to emote and react to it, because before you can experience that happiness, something else happens, and before you can feel sad, something else happens. It's actually so funny, but it's such a roller coaster of emotions. I feel sometimes that it can get overwhelming. I feel like I've funnily enough, my business starting around an art form like calligraphy, this art form taught me so much and has changed me so much as a person, which now in turn helps me deal with being a business owner, which is, just the sense of calm. Because calligraphy actually is super calming. It really centers you. You have to focus on your breathing, you have to focus on like your inhale and exhale. It helps you focus, it helps you just, that attention to detail, not multitasking and just doing one thing at a time, discipline, practice, all those things. I feel, funnily enough, while learning calligraphy, it's actually helped other aspects of my life. And I do feel like today, those are things I try and be disciplined about. I feel like when I'm having a really crazy or stressful day, I play tennis, or I do work out, but I feel tennis really helps me clear my mind. I see so much similarity between tennis and calligraphy. There's so much hand-eye coordination. There's a lot of just, again, attention to detail, focus, precision, all of that. So I feel like I've found things that kind of help me keep my calm. And I've realized also over time that staying calm helps me think better and helps me deal with things better. I'm not the kind of person who will panic or freak out when things go wrong. But I guess to answer your question, there are challenges. I feel sometimes you wish you had people around you who you could bounce ideas off, discuss things more with. Uh, but I think what's been nice for me is finding a community of other founders, business owners, uh, people who I can discuss things with, and they kind of understand and resonate with what I'm saying, and then likewise also. So I think finding a group of people could be really helpful. Your friends and family will always be there for you. They'll always like try and empathize and understand. But yeah, I think it's just about building your own that mental grit and resilience and stamina that I guess really helps you keep going.
So this all I think when we spoke, you always talk about being resilient and being there. And you sound like a person who goes the extra mile for the clients, like
Yeah.
most of the times, I hope.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can do you have any such story or any such scenario
Yeah.
wherein it was like a very hectic schedule, but you still went a step beyond
Yeah.
to deliver what was promised,
Yeah.
or to
Yeah.
probably over deliver than what was promised?
For sure. I feel right now my team sometimes looks at me saying, I think you're giving too much. You're doing too much. You're doing, and I was like, it's fine. For me, at the end of the day, what is our goal? Our goal is to make the client, want to come back to us. You want to put a smile on their face. You want someone to have the best experience working with you. And that's really what we strive for. Uh, I always tell the team, problems will arise, mistakes will happen. Nobody is perfect. And people know that. The biggest brands in the world make mistakes. The biggest companies, the biggest restaurants, you'll find something going wrong. It's not the thing that goes wrong, it's how you overcome it. It's how you deal with it, and it's how you correct what goes wrong. I'm not saying that something will go wrong every day. I'm talking about that one off when something it's out of your control. It's okay. It's how you correct it. And I keep telling my team that. So there was a time earlier this year we did a really big wedding invitations for a client in London. We couriered everything on time. The invites were beautiful, but it was quite a tight deadline. We made it in time. And by the time the shipment reached London, something as crazy as the wax seal stamps that were sealing down the envelopes, maybe because of the temperature control in the courier, they began to melt and they left a stain on all the envelopes. So out of 140 envelopes got ruined. And the client had to start delivering these envelopes, the invites, 2 days later. Now, I could have said, this is out of my control. We'll see what to do. Okay, let's do something. But I knew they needed it in 2 days. I reached out to my entire personal network to ask if anybody was flying to London. I found a friend who was flying that night. I asked my printers to keep the print shops open. They remade 40 envelopes. We pre packed everything. We kept the wax seals separately. I asked my friend, I said, I'm going to give you a small bag. We'll pay whatever your excess baggage is. I just need this to reach London tonight. This friend, luckily, turned out to be an angel coming from God knows where. Said, don't worry, I'll take it. The client said, we'll organize the pickup. My printers did everything in time. It all just fell in. The envelopes reached them that night. They fixed it, they replaced it. They were able to do everything in time. And the client was so grateful. The message they sent us made everything worth it. And they said the same thing. They said, you were so proactive about it. You didn't waste a second. You pulled a personal favor to make sure this got done. And they were so happy. They were like, we won't even remember that the mistake happened,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever.
definitely.
We're only going to remember how you went out of your way to help us,
Yeah.
and we're going to recommend you to everybody. And that's what they told us.
Why does all your, so I know another scenario which I got to know that you flew in from Hong Kong and then you just
Went to
had to go for
Oman.
6 hour Oman. Why does it have to be like
It's so
immediate
extreme.
international trips?
Because I think I manifest traveling. It comes to me in weird ways sometimes, but I'm obsessed with travel. I love travel. I think when people ask me some of my mistakes when I don't save money, it's because I blow it all up on travel. And then life comes and throws these kind of travels at me also. But yeah, recently, as recent as last week, we were working with a new wedding planner from London. So I had to make sure everything was perfect. This was an absolute non-Indian project we worked
Mhm.
on. It was last minute, so I knew what I was getting into. We had to deliver a lot of stationery and paper goods for a very big wedding in Oman. And I knew that courier just wouldn't reach in time. I didn't have 3 days for the courier because the day my goods would be ready was the day they needed it there. So I told the client, I said, don't worry, Oman is not far. Muscat, we'll manage. It's a 2 hour flight. We will put someone on this flight and we'll get your goods to you. She said, okay, sure, as long as you're confident of it. And I did some, finding research. I found someone flying to Muscat on the day I needed him to. It was all working out perfectly. I thought it would be about 30, 35 kilos. And then the day before that person had to fly, they called me saying he's now postponing his flight by a day. And that would not work for us because we needed it there on Monday night. So I called the client and I said, look, I know I told you I'm going to get someone on this flight. The person is going to be there, but they're not reaching today, they're reaching tomorrow. She said, that's not going to work because everything needs to be here tonight. I said, well, the only thing I can think of is I'll come. I don't know what else to do.
You could have sent anybody, like
Yeah,
free
but
24 hours in Oman, they would have had a
it was
blast.
4 hours earlier, and I am a small creative studio. I'm not a Fortune 500 company where I have people at my disposal to just fly. My team was so busy working, and at this point, when you become business owner, you are more delegating than actually
Yeah,
doing,
yeah.
and that's what I've seen with. There are days after delegating, I just sit and I'm like, oh wait, I actually don't have anything to do now because everyone is working. Whereas in the beginning, when I started my business, I was the one doing. It was my creativity, my hand, my skill, my calligraphy. But since we've grown and expanded, I have a team now. And the team was so busy working on client projects, I couldn't spare anyone. So I said, you guys work, I'll go. We somehow managed a visa in like 2 hours. Luckily, I went because it was not 35 kilos, it was 65 kilos of stuff. I reached, I delivered. She was over the moon. Again, appreciated how much we, did, went out of our
Mhm.
way, was so happy, took a flight back, came back
And now
happy.
you were happy.
I was fine.
So, like we have spoken a lot about your resilience. This shows your resilience that you actually took a flight just to drop your package and come back.
Yeah,
So when we go deeper, let's go a bit deeper and understand that there is always a creative side to things, and then there is a business side.
yeah.
So has it been a scenario with you where you did launch a product, but if you were just more business savvy,
Yeah.
or if you were just that would knack them for sales and marketing, if you
Yeah.
had that, or if you had known that earlier, it would have been a blast.
100%. I think the biggest challenge as a business owner who has transitioned from a creative or a skill based person or an artist is juggling the two. There's a really good book I've been reading called The E Myth, which talks about this, that just because you are an excellent calligrapher, it does not mean you will be an excellent business owner that runs a calligraphy studio, because they're two very different roles and very different attributes, I guess, required. I feel like I'm trying to get both, and I think it's a constant learning, but 100%. And I can give you like the most recent example. We launched our 2025 planners, which I think are beautiful. I think we've worked for months perfecting this product and really came out with something in India that was at a very an international, I would say, level. But we spent so many months perfecting the product that I definitely feel like we didn't spend enough time creating a sales and marketing plan for it, because the artist in me got completely absorbed into the project, forgetting maybe the business side in me that should have also focused on how are we launching this, what is our marketing plan, where are we going to be selling this product, what is our performance marketing plan. All these things were afterthoughts, and that's a huge learning for me, because and this is something I've learned recently, that selling your product is as important as making the
Yeah,
product.
definitely.
And sometimes people say sell before you make also.
There's no
you
place for
know
in the market for a bad product though.
Of course, you have to. But I think you have to be really smart about how you're going to sell as well. And I think that's been a big learning for us, because you can make the most beautiful products, but if you don't have a solid plan,
Yeah, it doesn't work out.
what do you do? You know?
So, as you talked about right now, that you get into that creative zone.
Yeah.
Now, I cannot help but wonder, like when you are in your stride, that yeah, ye karna hai, and all those creative juices flowing, and all of a sudden you hit a creative block. Has it ever happened with you, and how do you tackle that?
Sometimes, but I try not to overthink it. And
Mm-hmm.
I always have multiple tasks at hand. And I guess being a small business owner, you play so many different roles. So what I would then do is just jump to another task. I would not stress or force myself to be like, I have to figure this out right now. I would say, you know what, I'm going to sit on it, let it be. I'll do something else and I'll come back to it. And a lot of times I feel that's actually helped me, because sometimes we overthink these creative blocks, but maybe you just need a break, refresh, and come back. So that's really worked for me at times, where I would just stop thinking about it, do something else, get energized, fueled from
Yeah,
that, and then come back with a fresh mind and fresh pair of eyes. So that really has helped me a lot. Uh, Otherwise, it's not been too bad for me.
I think it was great conversation, Sanjana. I just have a few quick fire round questions for
Yeah.
you. We have tried to make it a bit fun.
Okay.
Let's see if we can get something really nice out of it. What's the one piece of advice you wish you would have received earlier?
Keep your overheads as low as possible when you're starting out.
What motivates you when things get tough?
Myself,
How?
literally. I just look inside and uh, I talk to myself a lot. I've learned a lot about manifestation and affirmations recently. I'm always putting things out to the universe. Uh, I play a good game of tennis, have a nice glass of wine sometimes,
Hmm.
and just talk to myself that tomorrow's going to be a better day, and I've got this, and I'm built for bigger and better things, and I can handle anything that comes my way. It
Great.
might sound a bit cheesy, but I actually do that, and it really just helps me.
Okay. So, one thing that you do to unwind after a really long day.
My dog is my stress buster. So CJ is my golden retriever. He's also the mascot of Bombay Lettering. Coming home to him just honestly makes everything so much better. So playing with him, and like I said, a good workout or a good game of tennis. Yeah.
What's that one habit which you would recommend to all creative professionals to improve on their skills?
Practice, practice, and practice. Because if you're building a business that is based on a skill, you need to be bloody good at that skill. And if you stop learning, you're as good as dead. So keep up skilling, keep learning, and keep practicing.
One book or a resource that has fueled your professional or personal growth?
Read a couple books recently that I've really enjoyed that really changed, I think, the way I've been thinking about my life, my business. Psychology of Money was one, which was really good. Start with Why, Simon Sinek, I loved. And The E Myth, I think, was really good. That helped me, like we discussed, the whole
Yeah, yeah.
thing about um, being uh, an artist versus running an art based company are two very different skills. And just learning about all the myths of entrepreneurship. And I think those three books have really helped me a lot in the last couple of years.
Great. So thank you so much, Sanjana. I think it was a great time. Uh, I really love the part that you are completely obsessed.
Yeah.
I would say the word obsessed with Bombay lettering. And for some reason or somehow, you managed to turn that obsession into resilience. Like the fact that you came from Hong Kong and in just 4 hours you took another flight to Oman just to make sure that the client doesn't suffer speaks tons about the kind of resilience you have. Like if it was somebody else, probably they would figure somebody, like find somebody to go, or they would send a person from their office, or they would just delay it by a day. I mean, it's just one day, and that's what the general thought of people
Yeah.
is. I think we also understood that there is no red ocean if you want it. If you want to create your own identity,
Yeah.
if you want to create a category, that is okay and it is possible.
Yeah.
I think the fact that you could go ahead and take a skill, an art form, and convert it into successful business where people can resonate with it,
Yeah.
and people like even celebrities find it appealing and attaching, and industrialists and all sort of people,
Yeah.
that is commendable.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Sanjana, for sharing all these great insights with us, sharing your journey, sharing the way you have taken it, and sharing that pinch of passion, resilience, and obsession, I would
Yeah,
say.
I think it's become my friends joke about this, like, this is your baby, this is your first baby, and it will always be your first baby. And it really is, and I feel like people can see through that passion, and we were even talking about how today people buy from people. And when your personality comes out through your brand or your business, it's authentic, it's real, people connect with it. They want to work with you, they want to buy from you. And I feel that when I'm buying from brands as well. And I hope that what we're doing as well evokes those like emotions in people. And I do feel like if you're extremely passionate about something, you are obsessed with it, um, you're just honest in your work, your ethics, and you're really good at it. And you're constantly taking that effort to get better at it. Nothing will stop you. There shouldn't be a reason why you shouldn't succeed.
Obviously, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Thank you so much, Sanjana. I would also like to request if you can tell our listeners where they can find you if they want to learn something from you, or maybe just follow your career, or maybe ask for your services.
Yeah, for sure. So, Instagram would be the best place,
Mm-hmm.
actually. We're Bombay Lettering on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn, on and off, but I'm on in LinkedIn. Just my name, Sanjana Chatlani. And, of course, you can check out our website, which is bombaylettering.com.
Thank you so much, Sanjana. So, guys, stay tuned for more. We have many more episodes on Life Unscripted coming up. Do not forget to like, share, and stay tuned. Thank you.